And with that, Nick Wright, now co-host First Things First, joins us live. All right, I always say, peruse that top 10, anything that stands out to you.
Top of the tiers, spot on. I like the 1, 2, 3, 4 exactly. I have some concerns about the Ravens we can get into later. The Eagles have really impressed me, and the Chargers, they don't have any great wins, but you can see what they're building. Here's my only beef. I think the Vikings and the Packers are better than San Francisco. I'm not sure why I'm supposed to believe San Francisco is anything close to what it was last season or the season before.
Fair.
And I know this isn't the point of the tiers, but Colin, if you look at what the Cardinals have left and what the Niners have left, I'm starting to think, I was with the Rams, but the loss last night was so devastating, they might be in too big of a hole. I think the Cardinals might be incredibly well positioned to win that division. And I'll call the shot right now. Week 18, Sunday Night Football, final game of the NFL season, I think is going to be Niners-Cardinals with the NFC West on the line, where the winner wins the division and the loser misses the playoffs entirely. And I think the Niners could be on the outside looking in. I was not impressed by what they did this past weekend, and I don't think the defense is going to be able to overcome some of the offensive injuries.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think part of me is it's confirmation bias. I want them to be good.
Yeah.
I've loved them for years.
They're supposed to be good.
That's right.
They got a great coach. Purdy played well this week. Like, my lack of impressiveness this week's not about Purdy. The throw to Kittle was great. I don't love the Debo thing. Like, I am not of the belief that, always keep your hands to yourself. Never, but like different workplaces at different standards. People are like, oh my God, can you imagine if you did this at Kinko's? They don't work at Kinko's, they work in the NFL. But the problem to me with the Debo thing is the imbalance of power. If you're going to hit somebody at work, they've got to be allowed to hit you back. Like, if you punch J-Max, so be it. He can punch you back.
Yeah.
If you punch an intern, it's a problem because the intern's not allowed to hit you back.
Yeah.
You can't fight the kicker and long snapper when you're one of the highest paid guys on the team because they're not allowed to hit you back. So I thought that was kind of a bad vibe sign. I didn't like that either.
Yeah. Never done that to an intern and never considered it, but thanks for planning it.
No, you've thought about hitting J-Mac, though, but he's got that gun show ready. He'd piece you right back, so it'd be fair.
Yeah, so I was saying this. Sometimes it's fun to be really wrong. And I said for 4 years, I love Mike Tomlin, but they're tone-deaf offense. Suddenly, to his credit, this is the advantage of having an experienced Super Bowl winning coach with a big salary. He benched Justin Fields with a winning record and said, it's just a gut instinct. Can't do that if you're a rookie head coach. You get a lot of heat. He's like, guys, this is why I'm well compensated. And I'm wrong. And I think we both are to some degree. Russell, I said this yesterday.
Has played well.
Everybody's clinging to Aaron still got it because he's cool. He doesn't. Everybody pushed Russell out the door because he's not cool. And I'm watching him. Nick, he's got the deep ball back. Right. I'm sorry, but...
that moon ball's back.
It is.
He's not taking as many sacks.
No.
They're playing from a script they're comfortable with. If they hadn't, attempted to execute one of the most asinine fake punts I've ever seen in a game they were totally controlling, I think they could have blown out Washington, and Washington's a good team. So, I thought Russell Wilson was totally cooked. And he's now playing, I think, better than he played, obviously, in Denver, but either year. But I think arguably better than he played his final year in Seattle. And that is shocking to me. Now, the only trepidation I have with Pittsburgh is I know America knows they have a tough remaining schedule. I don't know if they understand what it actually is. They have 8 games left. It is all 6 divisional games, and the 2 other games are the Eagles and the Chiefs. So that is as absolutely murderous of a final 8. And I know the Browns are no good and the Bengals have struggled, but AFC North divisional games are always tough. Steelers-Browns games are tough.
Yep.
And the Bengals offense is going to be a lot to deal with. But because of that, it was incumbent upon them to get out to this awesome start, and they did it. And so, like, the Russell Wilson, George Pickens combo, that has been unlocked. Pickens, who's, you know, kind of a bit of a personality issue at times, was not happy with Fields. He's been happier with Russ. And you've got to give them credit. And if they can split with Baltimore, which I would expect them to do, then you've got to say they're the favorite to win that division, even with that brutal schedule.
So I'm going to throw this at you with Caleb Williams. Because they butchered Justin Fields and Mitch Trubisky, they didn't work. And I'm not blaming all on the staff. That Caleb Williams, because he was a higher prospect, has to work. So there is no argument here. It doesn't matter if he's struggling. That it does matter also that Bo Nix and Jaden Daniel look terrific. And that there's so many things working here. Matt Hasselbeck said yesterday, most of these sacks are on Caleb. Whether they are or not, I'm not an NFL quarterback or former one. Is there a singular thing that I heard this yesterday from somebody I trust, Nick, in the league? He said, Colin, there's stuff here that I'm not sure is correctable. Is there any part of you that thinks the coach is irrelevant, he'll just never be Jaden Daniels, and he's just not a star?
I'm not. So that, I think, is, I'm shocked at the whiplash some have had on their Caleb Williams opinion. Listen, if you didn't love him coming out of college, if you were like, hey, he's overrated as a prospect, it won't translate, and what you're seeing right now, you're like, I told you so, so be it, bully for you. But if you are, in the generic you I'm talking, in the vast majority of people who all agreed he was the #1 player in this draft, the #1 quarterback, and after 9 games, 3 of which he was excellent in the middle, you're like, I've changed my opinion, then with respect, I don't value your draft opinions ever again moving forward. What is the point of watching college football, scouting these players, if half a season of football, you're like, nope, I've changed my mind? Now, are there some concerning signs? Sure. But I'm going to tell you, everyone's pointing to the sacks and the off-target throws and how much is on the all-line, how much is on Caleb. I'm going to give you a stat no one's pointing out that I think is the biggest indicator that the coaching was bad and got in his head. In these last 3 games, which have been the worst 3-game stretch of football he's probably ever played in his life, certainly his worst 3-game stretch in the pros. Do you know how many interceptions he's thrown? 0. He has, in these, PFF has him graded as, in these 3 games, 1 big-time throw and 0 turnover-worthy plays. So what does that tell me? The coaches coached the aggressiveness out of him. Peyton Manning, rookie year, what did he throw? 28 picks to go along with 2. It was a bunch of boom, a bunch of bust. He was learning. What is so concerning to me about the last few games is he's refusing to trust what he's seeing. He's refusing to throw the ball down the field. He's refusing to take chances. You've got to take chances. And so that, to me, is why, Caleb needs to play better. He needs to be more accurate. This is clearly, some of this is on him. But I would feel better, Colin, if he had thrown 6 picks the last 3 weeks than 0. 0, when you're struggling and not turning the ball over, when you are not a game manager quarterback, you're an explosive big play quarterback, that to me means you are being told, take care of the ball, trust the defense, take care of the ball, and now he's playing slow and not believing what he's seeing. So that, I think moving on from Waldron was smart, and I think they're going to have an offensive head coach next year.
So it's interesting. If I said to you, hey, let's go on a guide trip, but one of the guys...
You're paying.
It'd be a poker trip with you. It'd have to be. Forget, I go rafting trip, you'd go poker, you'd win. But if I said to you, one of the guys is really moody, holds grudges, and you got to kind of see it his way. You'd be like, that's not a good hang. It's a little bit what you were hearing with Aaron in Green Bay, and Boomer Esiason popular New York radio guy, had this to say yesterday about Aaron Rodgers. And I ask you, this was the Green Bay issue. Everybody was walking on eggshells. It is now the New York issue. You're watching Kyler Murray look like a different sport against him. You've watched Bo Nix beat him. You watch Mahomes, Lamar, Herbert. If you're the Jets, is it under consideration? You move off him.
So I don't think it's under consideration. I think it's the only possible option. He will be, after this season, he will be a 41-year-old quarterback that is coming off the 3 worst seasons of his career. Call it 2 if we're not going to count the year he lost the Achilles, fine. The year in Green Bay was terrible, a lost season due to injury, this disaster. He is the worst leader in all of sports. He is only, best I can tell, somewhat interested in football, and only if he can play with his old friends and family. He is, there would be no reason whatsoever to bring him back. And if you're, listen, Jet fans think I've been hating on them all year. I've just been impeccably accurate every step of the way all year, which sounds like hating when you're a train wreck team and franchise. But I have some good news. Listen, one of the knock-on effects of last Tuesday's election is Woody Johnson is about to get another cushy post overseas. So the Jets have an opportunity to go from Woody to Christopher Johnson, so you move out, at least temporarily, arguably the worst owner in the league. Move on from Aaron, totally new coaching staff, totally new front office, and say we have Quinnen Williams, Sauce Gardner, who needs to play better, Garrett Wilson, Quincy Williams to build around, and we're going to draft a quarterback. That's what they need to do. It's the only option that makes sense, and I don't know what team out there would want to sign up for Aaron Rodgers if the Jets move on. And I know we're short on time, but let me throw this at you, Colin. If this is how it ends for Aaron, I'm trying to go through the list of the 10 best quarterbacks in NFL history in my head. None of them saw it end like this. Because for Aaron, it would mean his last 3 years missed the playoffs, lost the season to injury, failed expectations, missed the playoffs, flamed out in spectacular fashion. Think about everyone else. Tom made the playoffs every year in Tampa, won a Super Bowl his 3rd to last year, or his 4th to last year in the league. Peyton wasn't great his final year, but won the Super Bowl, made the playoffs every year. Joe Montana in Kansas City made the playoffs both years, made an AFC Championship game 2nd to last year. Favre, his 2nd to last season, the one with the Vikings, almost won MVP, won the NFC Championship. Elway back-to-back Super Bowls. Breeze was in the playoffs every year. Hell, Big Ben thought his career was over, did a victory lap. They still made the playoffs. He got in there. Find the guy who is Aikman and Young were still really good, career shortened, had to quit due to the concussions and injuries. Who is the legendary quarterback who for the final 3 years of his career was in the wilderness? There isn't one. Yeah. I mean, damn, Phillip Rivers made the playoffs with the Colts at the end.
Yep.
Like, there is not a precedent in this league for any of the legends, and I left some of them out, but they all qualify, where the final 3 seasons of their career, they're on bad teams or not playing relevant football. So that's a weird button to the Aaron Rodgers story.
No, I agree. Another win for the Kansas City Chiefs. A happy man, and I like him.
Hard to beat them.
Well, it is. It's become very good take there. It is hard to beat them. That has been established.
Hard to beat them.
Good seeing you, buddy. Nick Wright. Hi, everybody. It's me, Uncle Colin. Subscribe here to get the latest from the herd, including exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and more, wherever you may be, however you may be watching. Thanks again for making us part of your day.